The so-called unicorns refer to new types of players who possess the height of inner players and the skills of outer players, have unlimited potential, and also create space to fill gaps. However, Li Pu never expected that he unintentionally merged Wen Ban Yama with Chamberlain in the game, making him the strongest unicorn player in history. Keywords of the novel. The strongest unicorn in the basketball industry without pop-ups, the strongest unicorn in the basketball industry. Download the complete set of TXT, and read the latest chapters of The Strongest Unicorn in the Basketball Industry. Chapter 1. Natural and Extraordinary Abilities. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Natural and Extraordinary Abilities, pop 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 pop. Crunching. Put in some effort, put in some effort. Basketball hitting the ground, sneakers rubbing against the wooden floor, and people shouting constantly pounded Li Pu's eardrums and nerves. Li Pu slowly opened his eyes and carefully examined the unfamiliar scene before him. Something's wrong, it's too wrong. Shouldn't I sit in front of the computer and play games? What's going on in front of me? A delicate indoor basketball court, a group of black and white young people filled with youthful hormones are running on the field, while he sits on the bench off the field. That's Demigas Cousins. Paul George. John Wall. Avery Bradley. They're all so green. Just as Li Pu was puzzled and sighing, a huge memory rushed into his mind, almost causing his brain to crash on the spot. After digesting for a long time, Li Pu slowly understood the situation. At this time, he was located at the Wintrust Arena in Chicago, and in front of him was the 2010 Elite Training Camp AMP, Joint Trial Training Meeting. That's the legendary NBA Chicago United Rookie Training Camp. And he became a 2K character. He created and participated in this training camp. As a basketball enthusiast, Li Pu often produces 2K game videos in his spare time and has many fans. The reason for this was that Li Pu was greatly shocked when he saw the highly discussed future champion Victor Wembanyama online. A center forward with the agility and skill of a defender is truly a warrior of the future. Therefore, Li Pu had a sudden idea and was ready to use the data of Wembanyama as a model to create a player with the highest talent in history. Considering stars over 220 centimeters tall, it is generally difficult to maintain good health, such as Mega Sun Moon, Ralph Thompson, Sabonis, Porzingis, and others who have suffered significant injuries in their careers. In reality, Wembanyama himself has never been completely injured. Therefore, Li Pu used Chamberlain's data in terms of sports attributes, durability attributes, etc. to ensure the durability of this player. So, a genius monster far beyond Wen Ban Yama was born. The character information is roughly as follows. Name. Prince Li, age. 19 years old, height. 224 centimeters, weight. 104 kilograms, arm span 244 centimeters. After creating this character at the time, Li Pu even thought of a name for the new video, The Strongest Unicorn in Basketball History. The fusion monster of Wen Ban Yama and Chamberlain. This name sounds exciting. I thought I could manipulate such a bug-like character and kill randomly in the game, but unexpectedly, I became this person. How to describe this feeling? It's really so great. Who would refuse such a tall, powerful, and enduring body? Regardless of gender. Didi. A rapid whistle interrupted the game and also disrupted Lip's immersive fantasies. Someone fouled on the field and the referee called the game to a halt. At this moment, a middle-aged man in sportswear approached Li Pu and pointed to him, saying, "Prince, it's your turn." Although the other party is using English, Li Pu can understand. Does this mean calling oneself on stage? With such a naturally gifted body, Li Pu was already starving and eager to play ball immediately. With just my big hands, I can probably control 2 balls with one hand. Okay, coach. Excited, Li Pu suddenly stood up from the chair with both feet exerting force. Puff. But before the coach could react, Li Pu's legs softened and he sat down on the ground with a thud. Li Pu, who was once less than 1.8 meters tall, couldn't adapt to his body of 2.2 meters in an instant. I got up suddenly just now and my center of gravity was unstable, so I fell off the bench. Coach. Teammate. Li Pu. The coach was stunned by Li Pu's sudden misbehavior and only realized after a while, "What are you doing?" Li Pu now wished he could find a crack in the ground and crawl in, she was dead. Unexpectedly, I fell off the bench in public. Those who didn't know thought I was a cross-talk performer. It's okay, I'm okay. It's just sitting for too long and my legs are numb. Li Pu defended himself, just such an explanation, too pale. You should know that this year's Chicago Rookie Joint Training Camp attracted over 60 rookie players from around the world, with over 150 NBA team decision-makers, scouts, and media watching from the sidelines. Most of them saw the scene of Li Pu on the sidelines. Ha ha ha. Sam, look at the bench on the sidelines. Ha ha ha, you're laughing at me. What's wrong, Jason? Ha. At this moment, in the audience, the man in a suit and leather shoes, with shiny oily hair and black framed glasses, looked towards the sidelines after being reminded by his colleagues beside him. Although he did not see the scene of Li Pu's death, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes when he saw Li Pu who had already stood up. Li Pu's appearance is quite good. When he pinched his face, Li Pu biased the appearance of this character towards a true literary style. With his superb facial contouring skills, this character's appearance has become a luxurious version of Wen Ban Yama, filled with beauty filters. With clear eyebrows and beautiful eyes, slightly dark skin, and short hair, he is a handsome guy without a doubt. If it weren't for his height of 2.2 meters, he would look like a high school student. However, the reason why this man was surprised was not because of Li Pu's appearance, but because of Li Pu's static talent. This height, this arm span, this calf, any team manager would drool at the sight of him. Of course, although Li Pu is tall at this time, his weight is too light. You should know that Durant, who is as thin as wood, now weighs 105 kilograms, and Li Pu is more than 10 centimeters taller than Durant. Li Pu, with such a bamboo pole-like figure, walked unsteadily onto the stage, and everyone in the audience watched him, afraid that he would be bent by the wind. Sam saw Li Pu's appearance, but his eyes lit up as he looked at him. He couldn't help but ask, "Who is he?" "I knew it, Sam. You just like this thin and long type. Here, his profile." As he spoke, Hervey handed a small notebook in his hand to the man named Sam. The two people in front of me, one named Jason Harvey and the other named Sam Presti, are the famous Thunder scouts and general managers. As is well known, the NBA has 4 miracles, namely the Thunder rookie, the Heat junior, the Rockets abandoned, and the Phoenix Suns miracle doctor. And the creators of the miracle of the Thunder rookie are the two people present in front of us. In addition to selecting 3 MVPs consecutively from 2007 to 2009, there were also high-quality players such as Brother.in.Law Green and 28 Kaka, as well as outstanding role-playing players such as King Gigi, and C. King, later on. It truly deserves to be the Hwanpu Military Academy of the NBA, even though it belongs to the entire NBA. Standing at a height of 298 centimeters, possibly more than, bouncing in place at 86 centimeters, running up and bouncing 96 centimeters, 84 kilograms pushed 12 times, palm length of 24.6 centimeters, palm width of 29.21 centimeters, sprinting for 12.4 seconds in 100 meters. This. Looking at Li Pu's information, Presti couldn't help but take a cold breath. This is simply unbelievable, isn't it? Height, arm span, strength, speed, coordination, and so on, combined with various body inside data, it is definitely the first rookie of this year. How could that be? How could it be unknown? Harvey had already guessed Presti's words and gestured for Presti to continue flipping through the information. Take a look at his resume again. Under Harvey's expectant gaze, Presti flipped the information backwards, only to find words on a piece of paper. Li Pu was born on September 15, 1990 in Tanzania. His father was an engineer from Huaxia and his mother was from the Tutsi ethnic group in Rwanda. In 1994, when his family of 3 returned to Rwanda, their parents died in a massacre, and he grew up in a local welfare institution in Rwanda before the age of 17. Li Pu had never been exposed to basketball and was only 182 centimeters tall at the time. Over the next 2 years, he grew by over 40 centimeters. At the age of 18, he was noticed by a local geological exploration team and joined the local professional team LU Shichi. Professional experience. From 2009 to 2010, he played for LU Nsitsi in the Rwandan League, averaging 25 points, 24 rebounds, and 5 blocks per game. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Amazing Achievements. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Amazing Achievements. What are these things? Upon seeing such information, Presti was dumbfounded. What kind of ghost is Rwanda? Which place also has professional leagues? I only started playing basketball at the age of 18, and now I've only been playing for a year. What's the difference between that and being an outsider? How did these people get into the training camp? It's not like walking through the back door. Is it really just relying on this excellent physical fitness? However, does he really possess this historical level talent? Of course, this does not mean that Presti is a racist, but rather that players over 220 centimeters tall are often difficult to maintain their health. Even if it's a precedent like the top scorer of the female zodiac sign, his career has been plagued by injuries and illnesses. Let's not talk about whether his talent can last long. In the NBA alone, the most essential thing is a monster with explosive physical fitness. Ultimately, it all depends on technology and personality. Otherwise, it will only be the next Tabit, added Hervey on the side at this moment. Tabit is the number 1 rookie of 2009, with a height of 221 centimeters, a weight of 119 kilograms, an arm span of 2.29 m, a standing and touching height of 2.87 m, a fat percentage of only 6.7%, and a jumping height of 89 centimeters. In terms of physical talent, although not as good as Lip, Tabit has at least proven himself in the NCAA. I only played in the NBA for a year before being abandoned by the team. And what about Li Pu? Although I have 1 year of professional competition experience, is the Rwandan League also called a professional league? Therefore, Hervey had no confidence in Lip at all. He was afraid that Presti had too much gambling potential, so he spoke up and advised him. Genius is the person who is farthest from perfection. Presti is aware of Hervey's professionalism, and since he doesn't even think highly of him, he has basically crossed paths with Lip in his heart. However, Presti still felt a bit unwilling. Li Pu's talent was too much, and he wouldn't give up any chance. Therefore, his gaze was firmly fixed on Li Pu, afraid of any omissions. Seeing Presti's actions, Hervey naturally knew what his general manager was thinking, so he set his gaze on the field. He was also curious about what kind of performance this testing monster in front of him could perform on the field. As for whether they will hit themselves in the face. Heavy wished he had been slapped in the face. Compared to their own face, which team is more important to obtain a talented rookie? People with thoughts like Presti and Harvey were present, and there were many, or rather most, curious about Lip, looking forward to his brilliant performance. Is it not appropriate to have a Chinese ancestry, a height of over 2.2 meters, and outstanding talent for the next female zodiac sign? In addition, after the end of this season, the female Zhao Ryu retired due to injury, and Ah Lian struggled hard. Ah Do, who Ah Yu couldn't support, believes that if anyone chooses this person, they won't be able to harvest the entire vast Chinese market next season. What? What are you talking about, Rwanda? How many people are there in Rwanda? He must be from China. It's true that Qin Shi ate pepper and touched the switch, Wen thoroughly. Of course, all of this is based on Li Pu's strength. Li Pu, who caught the attention of the crowd, didn't know what these people were thinking at this moment. He stood on the court as if he had passed away. A few minutes ago, he was just an ordinary person, but now he is standing on the field leading to the NBA. Everything is too unreal. However, before there was time to give Li Pu a sigh, the game had already restarted. I saw Cousins, who looked like a big mountain, come to Lip. Kid, hurry up and run away. You have no chance of winning in front of me. As soon as they met, Cousins was very impolite and started throwing trash at Li Pu. As one of the most famous rookies in this training camp, Cousins is hailed as the best center forward among the rookies. However, during the physical examination, an unknown guy ran over him. Regarding this, Cousins was very dissatisfied. Looking at Li Pu, who was like a bamboo pole, Cousins wanted to touch him and try who was harder. Li Pu was not aware that Cousins was full of hostility towards him, and his impression of Cousins was that he was still clueless and unhappy about this guy. Therefore, he doesn't care at all about Cousins' trash talk. On the contrary, when he saw Cousins only reaching his nose from the top of his head, he couldn't help but wonder, did you lie about your height? Do you have 2.1 meters? Cousins' rookie report states that he is 211 centimeters tall, but in Lip's opinion, he is at most 208 centimeters tall. Are you special? Upon hearing these words, Cousins felt like he had been stepped on by his tail, his whole body exploding with hair, wishing he could punch Lip's face directly. Who really made a false report? I just didn't stand up straight. Isn't it common to lie about one's height? How could anyone be so unruly? Just come up and poke someone in pain. If it weren't for being on the court at this moment, Cousins would have wanted to smash Lip's mouth. No, you need to stay calm. Use your skills, body, and abilities on the field to block his mouth. Can't be disturbed by him. It has to be said that facing Li Pu, Cousins actually calmed down, which must be said to be a miracle. At this point, the game has restarted and it is the turn of Cousins' team to attack. Although Cousins is not as tall as Lip, he weighs a whopping 123 kilograms, which looks much heavier than Lip. I saw Cousins leaning on Lip's back to demand the ball, and without a word, Wall hummed the ball to the inside line. After receiving the ball, Cousins dribbled and leaned back hard, trying to hit Lip hard. His big butt may not be as perky as Barkley's, but it is not comparable to Lip's ordinary and dry butt. However, we won't talk about buttocks today. It's just that Cousins hit Li Pu on the back. Many people present at this scene couldn't bear to watch the next scene. Li Pu, who was like a bamboo pole, was afraid that he would be intercepted and broken by the strong cowherd, right? Of course, when their bodies collided fiercely, the things they were worried about did not happen. Under tremendous force, Li Pu was indeed hit by Cousins and took 2 steps back, but Cousins exerted great force and almost lost control of the ball and took a step. Not only that, Li Pu looked thin and had a lot of strength on his body, which made Cousins feel a painful impact on his shoulder. What's going on? Cousins was a bit surprised. When he looked at Lip, he seemed to be doing nothing, looking at Cousins with a bewildered expression. That expression seemed to be saying, "Buddy, use some force, didn't you eat?" However, Cousins clearly misunderstood Lip. Li Pu's limbs are just like newly installed ones, difficult to control, he is still adapting. After being hit by Cousins, his chest also hurt a lot, but he didn't know what to do. After all, he never played with an NBA center in his previous life. But the misunderstood Cousins clearly felt a bit embarrassed and angry. He dribbled and played singles with Li Pu again. This time, Cousins learned well. Although he looks big and rough, his skills are quite delicate, using solid footsteps and back movements to mobilize Li Pu's defensive focus. However, it actually didn't work at all. How could this be possible? This guy actually saw through his fake actions. Cousins was greatly shocked in his heart. Obviously, he misunderstood Li Pu again. Li Pu didn't react at all. Eyes and brain can keep up, but body can't keep up. Seeing that the attack was about to take 3 seconds, Cousins immediately decided to simplify the situation and directly chose to force Li Pu. He held Li Pu's chest with one hand and prepared to score with a small hook under the basket with the other hand. Although this approach may not be as satisfying as blocking the opponent, as long as one can score, it is a good goal. At this moment, although Li Pu was pushed aside by Cousins, he always held his hands high. Cousins had a 218 cm arm span, and in front of Li Pu's 244 cm arm span, he was completely a younger brother. Therefore, Lip's hand was right in front of Cousins' shot. Just like this, Cousins got a big hat from Lip and didn't even jump. This is not over yet. After being hit with hot pot, the basketball still fell into the hands of Cousins. Cousins got up again, got blocked again, got up again, got blocked again. In one offensive turn, Li Pu even had 3 caps on Cousins, and they were all standing caps. His opponent is a hot favorite for this year's rookie number 1 pick, the rookie first center Demarcus Cousins. For a moment, the entire stadium was boiling. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Positive and Optimistic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Positive and Optimistic. The noisy arena gradually fell silent. In the empty arena, Li Pu sat with his head down on a chair by the sidelines, covering his head and shoulders with a towel. As the game ended, both the players and the spectators on the sidelines had already left the field. No one expected that Li Pu, who started with 3 standing caps, would quickly push everyone's expectations to the bottom after bringing endless imagination. His performance was really disastrous. He has extremely poor basic skills, not to mention difficult movements such as dribbling and shooting. He cannot even perform the simplest positioning well, and is completely sleepwalking on the field. He even collided with his teammates, did pick and roll for the opponent, and was seized by Bradiso to successfully break into the penalty area for a layup. Various mistakes, lack of tactical awareness, poor defensive space, lack of any offensive ability, and so on. His weakness is that he can't finish writing on an A4 paper. It can be said that apart from the initial 3 blocks, all the rest on the court were side effects. Originally, Li Pu and his team were still leading, but just 3 minutes after Li Pu played, the team was hit by the opponent with a score of 9.0, and they overtook the score in one fell swoop. Li Pu's other teammates said, "The 4 of us did our best, but we have undercover agents on our own side. We really can't win." This performance, also known as the future great intelligence Wiseman, can compete with it. That would have to be Li Pu's poor performance and Wiseman's exceptional performance to achieve it. In the end, the coach couldn't bear to watch it anymore, so he replaced Li Pu off the field. However, his performance in these 3 minutes was enough to ruin all of his future. All the scouts, team executives, and media personnel on the field have come to the conclusion that this child, not to mention the NBA, cannot even play in the NCAA. He's completely an outsider. Not even Tabit. At least Tabit won't do pick and roll for opponents on the field. The building was empty, leaving only Li Pu's lonely back, sitting alone on the bench. Obviously, the NBA door that was originally open has now closed to him. What can you do in 3 minutes? You can eat half an apple in 3 minutes, drink 1/3 of a cup of coffee, and take a nap in 3 minutes is not enough. And in just 3 minutes, Li Pu ruined his NBA career. Suddenly, an arm suddenly rested on Lip's shoulder. Li Pu turned around and saw a boy with straight features, slightly high cheekbones, and a typical Chinese appearance. He comforted Li Pu and said, "Prince. Cough, don't be sad. It's okay if you don't perform well in a game. Lin Shuheo." Li Pu couldn't help but be surprised as he looked at this familiar appearance. Didn't I say it? Just call me Jeremy. Lin Shuheo smiled at Li Pu. For the young man in front of him, who was also of Chinese descent but had exceptional talent, Lin Shuheo felt both warmth and jealousy. Sometimes he couldn't help but think, if he had a talent like Lip, how could he be troubled and not to enter the NBA? Unfortunately, this Li Pu is too wasteful. But seeing his lonely appearance at this moment still made Lin Shuheo sympathize with Li Pu and couldn't help but want to come and comfort him. Jeremy, thank you. Are you tired? Li Pu came to his senses and smiled. It was not until then that Li Pu remembered that Lin Shuheo was also a newcomer of this year, but unfortunately he ultimately failed to be selected. I just didn't expect him to participate in this joint training camp. I was just too concerned about my performance and didn't notice him at all. Ah. Lin Shuheo fell silent for a moment when he faced Li Pu's incoherent question and looked heartless. What is the unfolding method? Is this guy fooled by the blow? How come you're not sad at all and still laughing? Laughing, you. You're just a big idiot. Just as Lin Shuheo was considering how to answer, someone from afar walked over and cursed at Li Pu with a head and face. What the hell are you doing? Sleepwalking on the court. I'm really crazy, I'll believe your nonsense. The newcomer has oily hair and pink face, dressed in a delicate suit. From his attire and words, it is not difficult to tell that the newcomer should be Li Pu's agent. What are you? Do you know how much it cost me to cram you into this training camp? How did you promise me? And you ended up like this. It's okay if you ruin you, but you can't let me lose so much. Forget it, listen, our contract is over. You go back to the hotel and pack your things immediately. Get out of here. The enraged agent lost his temper at Li Pu, turned around, and left without giving him a chance to say a word, as if he didn't want to see Li Pu again for a second. He even tugged at his tie as he walked. Prince, are you okay? The failure of the training camp not only failed to win the favor of the NBA team, but even his agent abandoned him. Seeing this scene, Lin Shuheo suddenly felt that what he had experienced was nothing at all. How could Li Pu suffer? Even the agent doesn't want him anymore. He, it's okay, it's just an agent. Li Pu didn't care at all. Then he patted Lin Shuheo's shoulder and smiled, is there anything you need to do now? Can you practice with me for a while? Are you not sad at all? Lin Shuheo was somewhat stunned. What's sad about it? Didn't you perform well? Or did you break up with your agent? Please, I'm a genius. With my talent, as long as I work hard, even if I can't be selected this year, I can definitely be selected next year. As for that agent, as long as I can become an NBA superstar, what kind of agent can't be found? That's right, that's Li Pu's true idea. Don't look at Li Pu just crossing over, but he has already adjusted his mentality. He certainly knows how much he pulled his hips just now, but so what? I just haven't adapted to my body. No one knows better than him how strong his body really is. It's not an exaggeration to say that the most talented monster in history. As long as I can adapt and control this body as I please, my consciousness is worthy of this top-tier player. It will only be a matter of time before I enter the NBA. Rather than complaining here, it's better to work hard to improve oneself. Looking at such an optimistic Li Pu, although Lin Shuheo didn't know where Li Pu's confidence came from, he was greatly shocked. In terms of situation, Li Pu is much more miserable than himself, but he is so optimistic. What qualifications do he have to complain about others? Thoughts come to mind, and in an instant, heaven and earth are wide. The haze that had enveloped Lin Shuheo's head these days suddenly swept away with a sentence from Li Pu. Yeah, I'm still young and have a chance. Even Li Pu, who performs worse than me, hasn't given up. What reason do I have to give up? Don't laugh foolishly. If you're not tired, come and practice with me quickly. At this point, Li Pu had already stood up and casually picked up a basketball from the ground. Basketball in one's own hand, like a children's basketball, can be picked up with one hand. This feeling is really too handsome. Then, Lip began to try dribbling. Bang bang. Bang. After only dribbling twice, Li Pu wanted to dribble under the crotch as usual, but he didn't expect that after his hands grew bigger, he didn't even listen to the ball and made a dribbling mistake, causing him to hit the ball. The pain below instantly penetrated into the brain, causing Li Pu to squat on the ground and rub for half a day. This kneading doesn't matter, there was an unexpected surprise. Wow, that's really 28. Absolutely not worse than 28 cards. Ha ha ha. Looking at Li Pu's painful expression, Lin Shuheo stood up with a strong smile and picked up the culprit's basketball rolling on the ground, saying, all right, let me help you. After a moment of relief, Li Pu stood up again. He had to say that his body was amazing, with Max's ability to resist attacks. Despite being hit so hard, he managed to recover so quickly. Okay, come on. Lin Shuheo can agree, but Li Pu is not concerned about checking the safety of 28. Having an NBA-level guard help me adapt to my body is really a big bargain. How could I miss this good opportunity? As for the body, he believes that he can adapt quickly. Not long after, the empty arena echoed with the sound of hormone-filled popping and panting again. Every intense collision, every sudden stop and start, every effort, is filled with youthful vitality, outlining a picture called youth. At the entrance of the sports arena. Our ranking is expected to be outside the lottery zone, so there's no need to pay attention to these top-ranked rookies. Let's focus on these people. At the entrance of the arena, Presti sketched on Hervey's brochure and discussed the draft while walking. In the past few years of draft, the Thunder team has accumulated enough talent. With the performance of the Thunder's 3 young players, they have ranked 8th in the Western Conference with 50 wins and 32 losses this year, successfully advancing to the playoffs. Don't be fooled by the fact that only the Western Conference ranks 8th, it's only 7 games away from the Western Conference's top spot. Unfortunately, the weak internal defense ultimately prevented the Thunder from advancing further, and they were defeated 4-2 in the first round by the Lakers, who had 3 major internal defenses, and went home to fish. However, the talents they displayed still filled everyone with endless imagination, and also indicated that this Thunder was about to or had already completed its reconstruction. Therefore, the question before Presti is whether to choose an inner rookie with immediate combat power, or to use draft power to replace immediate combat center forward, in order to enhance the team's strength and compete for the championship. Regardless of the outcome, Presti needs to be prepared on both sides. Sam, are we going back to the hotel? Harvey casually asked as he put away the booklet. Returning to the hotel, I also have dinner with the general manager of the Hornets team tonight. From a video analyst to a renowned team manager in the league, Presti relied not only on his excellent vision, but also on his diligent work attitude. Then you can give me a message. Okay, I'll go get the car. Presti said as he reached into his pocket to get the car key. Where's my wallet? Lost it. Maybe I fell into the audience, I'll go find it. Speaking, Presti refused Hervey's companions and returned to the arena alone. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. An Opportunity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. An Opportunity inside the stadium. Facing Lin Shuheo's defense, Li Pu chose to turn around and take a back jump shot. This move was once his ultimate move, allowing him to dominate the field and join the school team. At present, with this body, Li Pu's turn is faster, his pitch is greater, and his shooting point is higher. Such a high shooting point made Lin Shuheo, even if he tried hard to jump, he couldn't interfere with Li Pu at all. Li Pu effortlessly took a shot and the basketball swept a high arc, flying towards the basket. After landing, Lin Shuheo instinctively turned back and couldn't wait to know if the goal had been scored. Immediately afterwards, he saw the basketball fly with a very high parabolic trajectory over the rebounds, hitting the timer perfectly. For a moment, both Li Pu and Lin Shuheo fell silent. Cough, I'm using my strength too hard. Mistakes, mistakes. Li Pu quickly regained his face. However, his words also earned Lin Shuheo's trust. Are you making a mistake? Who are you deceiving? Who makes a shooting mistake and can throw the ball to the timer? Oh, it seems like there really is. Just because of his strength, how could he have such an optimistic attitude? Can you still play the NBA like this? This ball is out of bounds, now it's your turn. Li Pu doesn't give Lin Shuheo a chance to roast. Lin Shuheo pursed his lips and then ran all the way to the outside to pick up the ball. Throwing it so far. Offensive defense transition, it's Lin Shuheo's turn to take action next. To be honest, due to the height difference, Lin Shuheo originally thought it would be difficult to defend Li Pu, but he didn't expect Li Pu to be too incompetent. I don't know how to use low back techniques at all, nor do I rely on my body to force myself. Instead, I play like an outfielder. Can I play a ball? In addition, shooting is so borderless that Lin Shuheo finds it difficult to lose. When it was Lin Shuheo's turn to attack, he became even more relaxed. After all, Lin Shuheo had a lot of experience with small and big fights. Sure enough, in the first offensive round, Lin Shuheo easily broke through Li Pu's defense and made a layup. Presti arrived at the entrance of the stadium and heard a sound of rackets inside the stadium. Strange, isn't the training camp already over? Why are there still people playing basketball? Curious, Presti walked out of the aisle and arrived at the audience seat, where he immediately saw Li Pu and Lin Shuheo fighting fiercely. Lin Shuheo once again easily broke through Li Pu's defense. At this point, Lin Shuheo and Li Pu had been fighting alone for 10 minutes, and Li Pu had not won a single game. Although Li Pu has a height advantage, the gap between amateur and professional players is even greater than you imagine. Although in the confrontation with Lin Shuheo, Li Pu has gradually become familiar with his body, becoming more skilled in running, jumping, stopping and starting, and gradually mastering this body. However, relying solely on these, he is still not a match for Lin Shuheo. Basketball has never been a sport that relies solely on the body, and techniques cannot be ignored. Just like the historical monster center O'Neal and Chamberlain, these stars who were only known to rely on their bodies to play, their inner line skills were still at the top level of the league at that time. Basketball is not that simple. After thinking about it in his heart, Lin Shuheo broke through again with just a simple change of direction between his front and hips. Coupled with his extremely fast first step, he easily passed Li Pu. Leaving Li Pu behind and facing the empty basket, Lin Shuheo, like several times before, prepared to easily put the ball into the basket with a simple pick. However, at this moment, he found a slender arm and a huge palm in his sight, accurately pressing the ball onto the rebound. Nailboard big hat. Due to Li Pu's long arms and high bounce height, even after completing the nailboard hat, he did not even touch Lin Shuheo's body. However, it was precisely because of this that Lin Shuheo was able to land smoothly and pick up rebounds. Although he regained the attack round, Lin Shuheo couldn't help but exclaim in amazement as he looked at the monster like Li Pu, "Why are you so fast?" Hey, men can't say fast. At this moment, Li Pu, who was gradually in a better mood, couldn't help but joke with Lin Shuheo. "Fuck you. Come back." Lin Shuheo once again held the ball and attacked, while Li Pu continued to defend. This time, Lin Shuheo didn't rush to attack. After receiving Li Pu's pass, he didn't immediately dribble, but instead used 3 threats to test. It has to be said that Li Pu's defensive skills are also mediocre enough, and the blocking just now relied entirely on his physical fitness. For example, in Lin Shuheo's eyes, Li Pu's defense, from posture to timing, is all flawed, and he has 100 ways to defeat him. However, when Lin Shuheo recalled just now that he had clearly shaken off Li Pu and even received Li Pu's nailboard hat, he felt lingering palpitations. Obviously, Li Pu's physical fitness has exceeded Lin Shuheo's imagination. Therefore, this time Lin Shuheo was extremely careful. First, he only took a step forward with his right foot, and with this fake move, Li Pu couldn't help but take a big step back. Right now. After fully feeling the shift of Li Pu's body center of gravity, Lin Shuheo started again. His first step is still very sharp. Although Lin Shuheo is a draft pick, in terms of the first step alone, he should be second only to future top pick John Wall in this draft. Li Pu had already felt Lin Shuheo's sharp breakthrough speed before this, so he quickly took 2 more steps back, ready to block Lin Shuheo's breakthrough. However, at this moment, Lin Shuheo suddenly made a sudden stop, then took a step back and chose to take a 3-point shot. Although Lin Shuheo's 3-pointers are not his strong suit, his shooting percentage is still good when he is in an empty basket. Just now, Li Pu's block made Lin Shuheo dare not easily enter the penalty area. That's right, he was hesitant and chose to take action from the outside. However, when Lin Shuheo, who was full of confidence, had just completed his move, he found that Li Pu, who was originally 2 meters away from him, had come to him in an instant. Li Pu, who leaped high, reached out his right hand just in front of his shooting path. Pop! A volleyball-style hot pot, Li Pu gave it to Lin Shuheo. The basketball collided with the palm, making a loud noise, and then flew towards the sidelines. Coincidentally, it happened to fall into the hands of Presti in the audience. Presti stared blankly at the basketball in his hand, then at Li Pu in front of him. His eyes, hidden behind his glasses, showed surprise. To be honest, Presti had already given up on Lip before this. After all, Lip's skills were too poor to reach the level of the NBA, and it was easy to think of Tabit, who lost in just 1 year. But at this moment, the defense brought by Li Pu's physical talent still fills Presti with fantasies. In today's Thunder team, there are already enough attacking talents. Nonsense, 3 top scorers are on the same team. Which team in history has received this treatment? So what the team currently needs is a center who can defend and protect the rebounds. If this kid in front of us can really practice defense and hang some muscles on his body, wouldn't that be the answer to the Thunder's 5th position? Sorry, Mr. Presti, are you okay? Li Pu approached Presti with a hint of embarrassment and apologized. Do you know me? Presti paused slightly. I've seen it on TV. Li Pu's statement really didn't lie. Presti's appearance, as seen by veteran fans like Li Pu, is not uncommon in the news. Have you ever been to another team's training camp before coming to this camp? Presti asked. No. I just came to the United States not long ago, Li Pu answered truthfully based on the memory of this body. That's really unfortunate. Your first performance in North America was a mess, and with your performance today, it's probably difficult to get other teams' trials. This. Upon hearing Presti's straightforward words, Lip couldn't help but want to curse his mother. No, is the general manager so speechless? However, the Thunder team can give you a chance, are you willing? Upon hearing Presti's words, Li Pu's mood was like riding a roller coaster, and he immediately went from low to high. He exclaimed with joy, of course. Today is May 17th, and there is still 1 month left until the draft on June 25th. I will test your abilities again before the draft. If you can meet my requirements by then, I will be willing to consider signing you in the first round. How about that? The first round of signing means a 4-year guarantee contract, which means millions of dollars. This is a condition that no poor boy can refuse. Li Pu is no exception. Really? It's a deal. Li Pu pondered without hesitation. Looking forward to your performance then. Presti handed the basketball back to Lip while saying. Thank you, Mr. Presti. Although such verbal agreements have no legal effect at all, Lip is well aware that if Presti is not interested in him, he will not talk nonsense to him. This is probably my last chance to enter the NBA this year, and I must not miss it. At the entrance of Wintrust Arena, Heavy, who was anxiously waiting, finally saw Presti's figure. Why have you been there for so long? Have you found it? Found it, not only found the wallet but also found our target. Presti smiled rarely. Target? Hervey exclaimed in surprise. Add Prince's name to that list. Prince. That chopstick-like amateur player. Yes. Sam, why don't you quit gambling? Definitely next time. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Uninvited guests. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Uninvited guests. Palo Alto, San Francisco, is full of spring all year round, with lush trees. Palo Alto, known as the center of the universe, is located in the San Francisco Bay Area and is part of Santa Clara County. It is one of the core cities of Silicon Valley. With the development of Silicon Valley, more and more Silicon Valley billionaires have chosen Palo Alto as their first choice for buying a house, leading to soaring housing prices and becoming one of the 5 most expensive cities in the United States. Ding-ling-ling. A hurried bell woke up Li Pu, who was sleeping soundly. Glancing at the alarm, it's 6:00. In Palo Alto in May, the sky was already slightly bright. Li Pu lifted the blanket covering his stomach and prepared to get up, feeling a burst of back pain and soreness. It's not what Li Pu went through last night, nor is it that he has reached the point where he needs to take Lu Wei Di Huang Wan, but rather these 2-meter-long beds, he can't lie down at all. Throughout the night, his 2 calves below his knees were suspended. Li Pu secretly swore that when he had money, he would buy a 3-meter by 3-meter big bed and roll on the bed casually. Prince, get up. Outside the room, Lin Shuheo's voice came from. Do you still use your words? In terms of diligence, I am not inferior to you. Li Pu replied, then got up and started putting on clothes. 2 days have passed since the challenge of the rookie training camp. Li Pu's agent really lived up to his words. On the 2nd day after the training camp ended, he approached Li Pu with the termination contract. After signing the contract, he mercilessly kicked Li Pu out of the hotel because the hotel room fee was also paid by the agent. Although Lip is a professional player, it is still a league in Rwanda, so it sounds like he has no money. Therefore, it has always been Li Pu's agent who has been spending money since he boarded the plane to the United States. Of course, this is not how kind he is, but it is a common practice in the industry. There is a professional term called promotional expenses, which includes these. Their early investments now will double their earnings from players in the future. Although Li Pu's agent is from a large company like CAA, he is clearly not a big agent and lacks money as he can go to Rwanda in Africa to search for players. When recruiting Li Pu, he was warm and kind enough to move anyone. But when Li Pu had no hope in the draft, he immediately changed his face. When driving Li Pu away, it was as if he was throwing away a piece of garbage without any mercy. Looking back now, this agent is really short-sighted, very stingy, and lacking in ability. If Li Pu were to be placed in the hands of famous agent Jeff Schwartz, the bottom line would start at the top of the table. You should know that his star players include Bennett and Wiseman, the Wolverhampton Twins. With Li Pu's talent alone, why not be stronger than these two? If it weren't for Schwartz's divine-level operation, early momentum building, mid-game control, late-game betting, and God's blessing, would you really think that Wiseman, this great intelligence, could have deceived the cunning Warrior unification team? No one really thinks that just being polite during an interview can make people choose you for the top spot, right? No, right. No, right. In short, due to the short-sightedness, lack of funds and patience, or excessive trust in Li Pu's abilities as an agent, Li Pu was not arranged to go to college. He would first train at the NCAA for 1 to 2 years before participating in the NBA draft. This formal route was to promote the joint training camp and promote it directly. I originally hoped that Li Pu's strong talent would be enough to impress NBA executives, but unfortunately, I encountered Li Pu's time travel and inability to adapt to his physical condition, completely exposing his weaknesses and causing the draft market to reach a freezing point. Poor Li Pu, a traveler, on the second day of his journey, he unexpectedly became homeless, which really embarrasses the traveler. Fortunately, thanks to Lin Shuheo taking himself home, Li Pu did not end up on the streets like a drug addict or a homeless person, becoming a beautiful scenery in Chicago. Yawning, Li Pu put on his clothes and walked out of the bedroom. Ouch! As a result, when going out, my head touched the door frame again. These days, Li Pu's head has been tormented, either hitting the door frame or the ceiling. With such a huge height, in daily life, it feels like being in a country of Lilliputians, which is really inconvenient. Hurry up and wash up. Leaving the bedroom, sleepy-eyed Li Pu happened to meet Lin Shuheo, who had already finished washing up. It can only be said that in some aspects, the group of men is really very fast. Got it. It's even more verbose than my mom. You haven't woken up yet, have you? Where do you have a mother? If it weren't for relying on others, Li Pu would really want to kill him. Bending over to the bedroom, he casually picked up the toothbrush placed on the table, a normal-sized toothbrush, and placed it in Li Pu's hand like a toothpick, so careful that when squeezing toothpaste, he was afraid of getting pricked. After washing up, it only took a dozen minutes for the two of them to pack up and prepare to go out. Not long after, a second-hand gray Chevrolet drove out of Lin Shuheo's garage and merged into the bustling streets. More than 10 minutes later, the two arrived at their destination, Palo Alto High School. Although Lin Shuheo has graduated from high school for a long time, as the most outstanding player at Palo Alto High School, returning here is like returning home. Thank you, Paul. Lin Shuheo thanked the security guard who opened the door for him. You're welcome, Jeremy, do it well. I'll wait for you to enter the NBA, and then take your whole family to the Oracle Arena to cheer for you, laughed the security guard. Li Pu saw all of this in his eyes, and this was not the first time he had felt the special treatment of Lin Shuheo at Palo Alto High School. It's no wonder that although Palo Alto High School has many billionaires, there are very few local football stars. Although Lin Shuheo may become a draft pick in the future and no NBA team wants him, in his hometown of Palo Alto, he is a somewhat famous football star. In high school, Lin Shuheo served as the captain and led Palo Alto High School to a record of 32 wins and 1 loss, and was selected for the California First Team, earning the title of North California Second Division League Player of the Year. He directly scored himself into the team history of Palo Alto High School. Quickly, the two of them changed their jerseys in the locker room. The jersey that Li Pu is wearing is still the one he wore at the training camp. There is no way, firstly, Li Pu's face is cleaner in his pocket, and secondly, with a height of 220 centimeters, it is difficult to buy clothes that fit well in the store. Usually, it needs to be customized. Therefore, he can only wear clothes that his previous agent bought him. Fortunately, the agent did not strip Li Pu of his clothes, allowing him to not play naked. Alright, let's get started. In order to fulfill the agreement with Presti, Li Pu, who comes from a wild background, needs to learn basketball basics from scratch. Because he couldn't afford professional trainers, Li Pu could only slowly learn the basic skills of these professional players under the guidance of Lin Shuheo. However, to Lin Shuheo's surprise, Li Pu's learning speed was very fast. From dribbling, footwork, to defensive posture, Lip almost only needs to look once to accurately perform. Not only Lin Shuheo was surprised by this, but even Li Pu himself was equally surprised. After thinking for a long time, he didn't understand why, and could only attribute it to his own body, which should have muscle memory. It can only be said that with talent, one can really do whatever they want. Just now, when shooting the ball, the position was too low, just place it at the waist. When shooting, pay attention to the strength of the lower limbs, and do not disconnect the strength between the upper and lower limbs. Footsteps, pay attention to your footsteps. It has to be said that there is indeed a big gap between professional players and amateur players, especially in the various details during playing, which has opened Li Pu's eyes. Under Lin Shuheo's explanation, Li Pu understood that there were countless details to pay attention to, including ball handling, dribbling, positioning, shooting, and so on. Former Li Pu, where did he know these details? Ordinary people play basketball, as long as you shoot accurately, you are the king of the field. Are you planning to become a point guard? PG, who is over 220 centimeters tall, is indeed a good idea. Just as the two were focused on training, a teasing voice suddenly came from the door. This book has been signed, please rest assured to invest. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. True Face. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. True Face. The two of them looked at the sound and saw a tall and handsome white man standing at the door, dressed in a blue and white sportswear. He's pretty, with both hands in his pockets, looking at them with great interest. Are you Nick Collison? With just one face, Lip recognized the other person's identity. Do you know me? Collison was slightly surprised. Of course, I am a fan of the Thunder team. Li Pu replied. For ordinary fans, Nick Collison's name is quite unfamiliar, but for Thunder fans, Collison's name is as familiar as Thunder. In 2008, the Thunder moved from Seattle to Oklahoma, and it was the only retired jersey after being renamed the Thunder that was the number 4 jersey of Nick Collison in front of him. Although Collison's entire career did not have any outstanding performances, and his average game data was only 5.9 points and 5.2 rebounds. But he devoted his entire 15 years of career to the Thunder team, making him the undisputed soul of the team and affectionately known as the Science Team by fans. However, at this time, Collison did not have the same level of fame as later generations. This year, after 3 years of poor performance, the Thunder team made it to the playoffs for the first time, which earned some attention. But that's all there is to it. Moreover, the media's flash is focused on the Thunder 3 little, followed by young people like Jeffrey Green and Ibaka, while Collison does not have many spotlights and his presence is very thin. Therefore, upon seeing Lip blurting out his identity, Collison had no doubt about the identity of Lip as a Thunder fan. He didn't know that Li Pu was not a fan of the team at all, and he was also a fan of football stars. The reason why he knew Collison was not because he was a long-time fan of the Thunder team, but because he had many years of experience in related live broadcasts. Thank you. Since his identity was exposed, Collison naturally did not speak too harshly. Mr. Collison, were you invited by Mr. Presti to teach me? A player from the Thunder team, even though he was on off-season, suddenly appeared here, and it seemed like he was all aimed at Li Pu. Just call me Nick. Don't talk nonsense, I just happened to be on vacation in California, and when I heard about your performance at training camp, I was curious to come and take a look. Collison denied. Okay, I understand. Li Pu gave Collison a reassuring look. Although the league does not strictly prevent teams from interacting with rookies, Presti clearly does not want other teams to know that he is in contact with Lip. If it attracts the attention of other teams and causes Li Pu to rise in order, it would be more than worth the loss. Therefore, Collison's personal contact with Lip can dispel a lot of attention. After all, Collison is ultimately just a role-playing player, and no one would pay special attention to him. Seeing Li Pu so witty, Collison didn't say much. He threw his coat on the chair and walked onto the stage, saying, "Come on, let me see your strength as a rising star." He has heard about Li Pu's deeds in the training camp and knows that the guy in front of him has poor skills, so he is very puzzled in his heart. He doesn't understand why Presti is so optimistic about this young man and even asked himself to come and teach him. Just as Collison was puzzled, Lip finally started. He imitated Lin Shuheo's breakthrough action, quickly breaking through from Collison's right hand after a simple 3 threat. Although his first step may not be as fast as Lin Shuheo, he is no longer slower than an average NBA guard. Combined with his 2 long legs, he only dribbled 1 step and then combined the ball directly. Are you joking? This is outside the 3-point line. After Li Pu combined the ball, he broke through Collison's defense with just 1 step, but he did not give up. He immediately adjusted his defense, leaning against Li Pu with his body and ready to take the ball from Li Pu's hand at any time. The people beside Lin Shuheo were all numb. You're a ghost, you're still outside the 3-point line at the moment. Are you preparing for a quick stop and a backflip jump shot? Do you have that strength? Of course not, Li Pu. Although he has made rapid progress in the past 2 days, shooting is still a big challenge for him. His hand feels very soft, but the problem is that his 2 long arms make it impossible for Lip to shoot in the shooting position he was used to before. Therefore, it is difficult to guarantee his hit rate, which is basically dependent on the sky. The reason why he needs to combine the ball is because he needs a 3-step layup. After walking for 2 days with long legs and only 2 steps, Lip shot from the 3-point line to the penalty area. Then, Lip chose to take off directly and hung Collison to the basket. Then, Li Pu ignored Collison and chose a civilian layup. There's no way, Li Pu is not proficient in dunking yet. However, what made Li Pu even more embarrassed was that the basketball hit the backboard, rebounded with too much force, and flew out directly. This layup, surprisingly didn't go in. Ah. Li Pu let out a mournful cry as he saw the ball not scoring. If I had known this layup wasn't hit, I might as well have dunked it myself. After all, if you dunk, even if you fly, your posture is still handsome. Can leave a good impression on Collison. Thinking of this, Lip looked at Collison again, wanting to see how this future team would react to his performance. Oh my, I made a mistake, I'm sorry, Nick. For Li Pu's search, Collison didn't listen at all. Seeing Li Pu's exaggerated layup just now, his eyes were almost straight. Is this really human? No wonder Collison was so surprised. Before the emergence of the Letter Brother, although there were also many flying monsters in the NBA, most tall players were inside players, and their attacks were mostly launched from the inside. Who has ever seen someone who is over 220 centimeters tall, plays independently with the ball, and takes 3 steps to lay up from outside the 3-point line? Although the ball didn't go in, as long as Li Pu just changed to a layup or dunk, scoring was as simple as drinking water. After all, Li Pu's hands had already surpassed the basket just now. As for why Li Pu didn't choose to dunk this ball just now, I think maybe it was to save face for himself. He didn't know that Li Pu had no dunking skills at all. Before crossing over, his physical fitness couldn't reach it, and he never dunked at all. For a moment, Collison had a favorable impression of Li Pu. Such a young person, while showcasing himself, did not forget to save face for his opponents. What a good child. Since the young people have shown respect, then Collison naturally wants to reciprocate, so he said, "Your attack is very good. Next, let me see your defensive ability." Good. Upon hearing Collison's high evaluation of himself, Li Pu frowned and even couldn't forget to show off a smile to Lin Shuheo beside him. Lin Shuheo on the side was silly. Looking at Collison, he couldn't help roast. Where do you see that he is good at attacking? 3-step layup. The problem is that he has not made progress. Through these few days of interaction, Lin Shuheo has long understood Li Pu and already knows his depth. Despite Li Pu's exceptional talent, his skills are completely out of the ordinary. Although he has made significant progress in basic skills in the past few days, his time is too short to develop any decent offensive skills. How can such a player deserve the good evaluation of Collison's attack? If it weren't for the fact that Collison in front of him was a genuine NBA player, Lin Shuheo would have suspected him to be a fraud. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Finding the Right Person. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, Finding the Right Person inside the Palo Alto High School basketball arena. Collison held the ball and hit Lip with his back. Don't be fooled by the fact that Lip is one head higher than Corey-san. He also has an advantage in strength, making it difficult for Corey-san to push Lip. But Collison was able to successfully mobilize Lip's defensive focus and bring the ball into the penalty area through his agile footsteps and skilled skills. But at this point, if Collison wants to go deeper, he can't. The closer to the basket, the smaller the space that Collison can unleash. So Collison stopped dribbling and chose to turn forward, making a backward jump shot. Upon seeing the outfit, Li Pu immediately pounced out and prepared to give Collison a big hot pot. But at that moment, Collison suddenly took the ball, his right foot remained still, and his left foot took a big step forward, diving through Lip's armpit. This is a beautiful step up and down. Although Collison may seem like a blue-collar power forward who doesn't know anything in the NBA, during his college years, he was a well-known low-post killer in the NCAA. Even Collison was once the all-time scoring champion of the 12 major leagues. However, due to his inadequate physical fitness, it is difficult for him to showcase his proud skills in the fierce competition in the NBA. However, at this moment, when facing Li Pu, who had an empty body and rough skills, Collison still found the charm of his college years and played with ease. Faced with an empty basket, Collison easily picked up the ball, which he could score with his eyes closed. However, he still underestimated Lip's terrifying projectile speed and abnormal body. After landing, Li Pu immediately jumped up again, turned around and slapped Collison's layup to fly. Looking at the basketball flying far away, Collison couldn't help but shake his head, feeling deeply moved that this guy's body was indeed too abnormal. Li Pu happily picked up the ball and brought it back. Looking at Li Pu, who remained unyielding, Collison also felt the strength in his heart. In the previous encounters, Lip was continuously scored by Collison in various ways, such as hooks, layups, mid-range, and so on. Faced with Lip, Collison was almost turning into an attacking kaleidoscope. However, Li Pu did not feel discouraged at all, but instead constantly studied Collison's offensive tactics, finally achieving this successful defense. Alright, stop fighting. Collison refused as he looked at Li Pu, who was still eager to try. Stop fighting. Li Pu felt a bit disappointed in his heart. It's a pity that he stopped abruptly just as he found a trace of his state. I already understand your situation. To be honest, your talent is indeed great, but your skills are really terrible. Currently, you really can't play in the NBA. After the confrontation with Li Pu, Collison also knew Li Pu's depth and spoke frankly. I understand. In the upcoming training, I will focus on training your defensive footwork and rebounds. Do you agree? Collison said again. Of course I agree, thank you. Nick. Oh. You agreed so easily. You're not planning to become a point guard anymore. Collison joked. That's not urgent. After I enter the NBA, I will practice slowly. I know what the team is lacking now, so I am willing to play the role that the team needs. Upon hearing Li Pu's answer, Collison raised his eyebrows but didn't say much. Instead, he said, Great, let's start quickly. Although Collison didn't say much, he was very satisfied with Lip's answer in his heart. No one doesn't want to be a football star, however, it's impossible for everyone to be a football star. Every rookie in the league is the leading star of their respective team. If they can be the red flower, who would be willing to be the green leaf? But the NBA is a relatively fair place. Stars are still ordinary blue-collar workers, and it doesn't depend on your family background or how many red envelopes you give to coaches. It only depends on your strength. There are too many rookies who have been eliminated by the league due to their lofty aspirations and weak abilities. However, when faced with a change in role, Li Pu was able to give up his self-esteem without hesitation, starting from reality and willingly becoming a blue-collar worker. With such a mindset, Collison thought to himself that even he couldn't change his attitude so smoothly as Lip did. In fact, Collison clearly overestimated Lip. Li Pugan has never had the experience of becoming a football star, and deep down he is an ordinary person. Find an ordinary person and ask if they are willing to enter the NBA and play blue-collar. Not to mention being a blue-collar worker, even a water dispenser administrator is willing to do it. After all, as long as you can enter the NBA, it's all a waste of money. The sun is gradually setting in the west, and the street lights have already been turned on. Under the street light outside the main entrance of Palo Alto High School, a dirty Cadillac was parked. Heavy leaned against the car and lit a cigarette. A long stream of thick smoke spewed out, and a tall figure appeared in his sight. "Nick, why has it been so long?" Collison saw Hervey's figure and smiled. "That child is very interesting," so he stayed a little longer. Around the front of the car, Collison opened the car door and sat in the passenger seat. It has to be said that the space of Hervey's SUV is not small, but when the 208 centimeters tall Collison sat in, it still looked very crowded. Harvey threw the cigarette but on the ground, stomped it out with his foot, and followed him into the car. Start the engine and the car immediately soars away. Can it make you find it interesting? It seems you are very good to him, isn't it? It surprised me quite a bit. Collison recalled the scene just now and couldn't help but say. "Isn't it another Tabit?" Hervey asked. "No, he has a strong learning ability and is very intelligent. Although he started playing basketball late, I think he can practice it," Collison said with confidence. "Is it really fake?" This prince only started playing basketball at the age of 18, 3 years later than that Tabit. "Are you sure he can?" Hervey asked again. "Of course not, so I need time to verify." "What does it mean? Can you help me cancel my flight next week? I'm planning to stay here for a while longer." "Are you serious?" Harvey exclaimed in surprise. "Do I like to joke so much?" Collison couldn't help but smile at the corner of his mouth as he answered. Seeing Collison enjoying himself, Hervey couldn't help but sigh. It seems that this Lip has something to do with being able to continuously win the love of Presti and Collison. Where on earth did he make them like him so much? In the past 2 days, due to Presti's decision, Hervey has investigated Lip extensively. It can be said that he now knows Lip better than Lip. Therefore, he also knows how weak Li Pu's foundation is, and using the first round of signing Li Pu is completely a gamble. However, Presti was willing to take this risk and put in a lot of effort to have Collison come to teach. It should be noted that most players, even role players, cherish their off-season very much, and players like Collison who are willing to cooperate with the team management are even rarer. However, just meeting once made Collison willing to sacrifice his precious rest time and even voluntarily extend it to train Lip. This really surprised Harvey. On the one hand, Hervey was impressed by Lip's popularity, and on the other hand, he sincerely thanked players like Collison who are selfless and considerate of the team. "I've really found the right person to look for Collison this time." End of this chapter. Chapter 8, Then Go Ahead. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8, Then Go Ahead. At the beginning of the Lantern Festival, night falls. A second-hand Chevrolet slowly stopped at the entrance of a convenience store. Surrounded by towering buildings and luxurious decorations, this Chevrolet seems somewhat out of place. "What are you doing?" Li Pu, who was sitting in the passenger seat, exclaimed in surprise. "Of course I have to buy alcohol." "Is it difficult for you to buy it?" According to U.S. law, people aged 21 and above are allowed to buy alcohol. Unfortunately, Li Pu is only 19 years old this year, and Lin Shuheo will turn 22 in just 3 months. No, what I mean is, why drink alcohol? Of course I'm celebrating for you. Celebrate what? Did you forget Nick finished praising you before leaving yesterday? Your draft is stable. Isn't it worth celebrating? After teaching Lip for 12 days, yesterday, Collison suddenly proposed to leave and flew back to Orange City, Iowa, overnight. It's not that Collison lacks patience, and he found that in terms of defense, he no longer has anything to teach Lip. Collison couldn't understand Lipper's exaggerated learning speed at all. In the first 5 days, Collison was able to suppress Lip with his experience and skills, but later on, facing Lip's defense, Collison had high hopes of scoring a goal. Perhaps there is still room for improvement in Lipu's defensive details. His defensive skills are not yet proficient enough, but he can't hold back. Lipu is in good health. Being able to run, jump, and have long arms can make the opponent unable to see the basket with just one move, which is really a bug. Therefore, in just 1 week, Lip's defensive ability was already able to beat Collison half a street. Collison believes that with the further improvement of experience and technology, when the new season arrives, Lip's defensive ability will definitely be able to support the Thunder's inner line. Is this the world of genius? It's really terrifying. In fact, even Lipu himself never expected that his progress would be so fast. Unlike ordinary people who learn from scratch, Lipu's body already possesses all abilities, but due to his own knowledge limitations, it cannot be used. It's like having a full-level account, but the person who operates it can't keep up with their strength. As long as the operator makes a little progress, they can make this full-level account and quickly kill numerous new accounts. So, when he began to learn a technique, his body could fully satisfy the command of the brain, as if the muscle memory he had honed was activated, and the speed was naturally much faster than that of ordinary people. This also gave him another confidence that he could pass Presti's test. Of course, I think so in my heart, but I still need to keep a low profile and accumulate character for myself. I can't follow McGrady's example of, I'm already considering the next round of opponents and ruin character. Don't say that, the 8 characters haven't even been skimmed yet. Cut, stop pretending. I don't know you yet. There's hardly anyone at home tonight. Let's both stay up and fight until dawn together. Speaking, Lin Shuheo got off the car, and Lipu had no choice but to follow him down. Shortly thereafter, Lin Shuheo walked out of the convenience store carrying 2 large bags of snacks and wine, only to see Lipu standing at the entrance of the store, looking aside. What are you looking at? Wow, what a cool Ferrari. On the streets, the most eye-catching ones are undoubtedly luxury cars and beautiful women. And now, both of these are gathered. I saw a bright red Ferrari parked on the roadside not far from the 2 of them, and a beautiful woman with a curvy figure standing not far away, looking up at the trees on the street. Although it's just a silhouette, it's unlikely to be a silhouette killer. At this moment, Lin Shuheo realized that Lipugan was not actually looking at the car, but at the beautiful woman next to it. Are you watching? What's to envy? When I become a football star, I'll give you a car. Lipu said before Lin Shuheo finished speaking. Cut, don't look down on people anymore. I can do it too. I'll see you off then. Lipu's words also aroused Lin Shuheo's competitiveness, and he forgot to continue teasing Lipu about looking at beautiful women. Ha ha ha, forget about the sports car, I can't get in. You can give me a private plane. Do you want me to send you a rocket? Forget it, I'm not the anchor, and you're not the top-ranked guy. What kind of rocket do you want? Lipu shook his head and smiled. What are you saying? It's nothing. Don't digress from the topic with me. You were clearly looking at the girl earlier. Don't tell me anything else. If you like it, go up and chat up. Go ask for a phone number. What's the point of secretly being here now? Just strike up a conversation, don't you think I dare? Well, you just dare not. Don't look down on people, why don't I dare to strike up a conversation? Then you should go. Just go, who's afraid of who? Seeing that the atmosphere had already set off to this point, if Li Pu didn't go anymore, it would be really cowardly. After speaking, Li Pu walked towards the beautiful woman under the gaze of Lin Shuheo. It was a momentary pleasure, and afterwards, it was a crematorium. Li Pu, who has never had a conversation in his 2 lifetimes, is now extremely nervous. He feels his breathing becoming heavy, his palms sweating, and his calves are about to cramp. What should I do? What should I say? Just ask for the phone. Damn it, who can save me? At this moment, although Li Pu's heart was burning with anger, his face remained calm and he walked forward without straying his gaze. As he approached the beautiful woman, his speed slowed down, but even so, he was about to walk past her. Alas, if you're mocked, then be mocked. Damn it, Lin Shuheo, what kind of bet are you making with me if you have nothing to do? Although Li Pu did not turn back, he could still feel the smile that Lin Shuheo couldn't conceal behind him. Just as Li Pu was mentally prepared to be ridiculed by Lin Shuheo, a crisp voice suddenly came to his ear. Hi, hello, can you help me? Li Pu turned around and surprisingly, the beautiful woman took the initiative to ask him. At this moment, Li Pu finally saw the beauty's appearance clearly. Her skin color was not very white, and her appearance had a hint of South Asian charm. Her facial features were exquisite, and her face was deep. Her beautiful eyes seemed to captivate the soul, charming and moving. This beautiful woman has a tall and sexy figure. It can be said that Li Pu has never seen such a beautiful girl up close in reality. Most importantly, Li Pu felt that the girl in front of him had a somewhat familiar face, as if he had seen her somewhere before. Hello. Hello. What? Under the girl's continuous greetings, Li Pu came to his senses. Can you help me pick up the cat? The girl pointed to the branch of a big tree next to her. Li Pu looked up and saw a snow-white kitten lying on a branch. Of course. Li Pu finally understood what the girl wanted him to do. So he immediately walked to the bottom of the branch, raised his hands high, and easily grabbed the kitten without even tiptoeing. Here you are. Li Pu took down the kitten and handed it to the girl, who was immediately excited. Katie, you're really scared to death. The girl took the kitten and excitedly hugged it in her arms. After handing over the kitten to the girl, Li Pu was about to leave when the girl spoke again. Thank you so much. Without you, I really don't know what to do. No, you're welcome. Li Pu, who is usually eloquent, stuttered in his speech at this moment. Hello, you must be over 7 feet tall, right? Are you playing basketball? Yes. Wow, that's great. I really like basketball and I hope you can see you on the NBA court then. By the way, my name is Anjali. What's your name? Anjali. Upon hearing the name, Li Pu felt as if a lightning bolt had flashed through his mind. Li Pu immediately realized who the beautiful woman in front of him was. This is the famous goddess Lana Dave, who is the future owner of the Kings and a top-tier player in the NBA. Are you going to replace Jiang Duowan as the new public enemy of a certain Pu? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The wine has disappeared its aroma. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The wine has disappeared its aroma. My name is Prince Li. Lip came to his senses. Li. Are you from China? Yes. Li Pu nodded. I know about the Chinese girl Zhao Ryu. She is very good at playing basketball. Are you going to become the next girl Zhao Ryu? I have to say, Anjali is very talkative. Although he first met Li Pu, every word made him feel very comfortable. This woman is very good at dealing with people. I also hope to become someone like him. Come on. You can definitely do it, said Anjali, taking out the yet-to-be-released iPhone 4 from her pocket and saying to Li Pu, let's add Facebook. Anjali's father is a Silicon Valley tycoon, and for her, she can easily obtain a phone that others need to exchange for with her kidney. I don't have this. It's rare for a beautiful girl to ask for her contact information, but she doesn't have it, which is too embarrassing. Ah. Yeah, it seems that Huaxia doesn't have Facebook. It's okay, then leave a phone number. In this way, due to Anjali's unilateral initiative, this encounter was finally successfully completed without any excitement. Goodbye then. Holding the kitten, Anjali waved at Li Pu and then sat in the bright red Ferrari. After a burst of engine roar, she flew away. Originally, that Ferrari was hers, truly worthy of being a second-generation wealthy person. When Li Pu walked back to Lin Shuheo with endless worries, he saw that Lin Shuheo's chin was almost shocked. What just happened? Li Pu surprisingly succeeded in striking up a conversation. No, it's obvious that the girl is talking to Li Pu. Li Pu was passive throughout the entire process, and even the phone number was being asked by that beautiful woman. Why? In terms of appearance, he is just a little bit more handsome than himself. Besides that, what else does he have? Is that giant-like height? This kind of successful conversation between good brothers is as uncomfortable as killing oneself. Jealousy separates me from the wall. Jealousy has completely changed my face. Jealousy makes me, hey, what are you doing? Li Pu waved his big hand in front of Lin Shuheo. How did you do it? Lin Shuheo gritted his teeth and asked. Well, of course it depends on my handsome appearance. Without Anjali, Li Pu has returned to his original state of being underbeaten. With your chopstick-like figure. You're purely jealous. I'm slender. Forget it, I'm too lazy to talk nonsense to you. Hurry up and get in the car and go home. As he spoke, Li Pu boasted and waved his phone at Lin Shuheo before opening the car door and getting into the passenger seat. Looking at Li Pu, Lin Shuheo felt heartbroken and instantly felt that the wine in his hand was no longer fragrant. After a long silence, he put the bag in his hand in the back seat, sat in the driver's seat, and drove home. That night, Li Pu and Lin Shuheo engaged in a fierce battle late at night, and the situation was extremely brutal. It needs to be explained here that the so-called war refers to NBA 2K10, rather than the strange things that book enthusiasts think. Since the groundbreaking release of NBA 2K9 by 2K Sports in 2008, it quickly replaced NBA Live and became a favorite among basketball enthusiasts. Lin Shuheo is no exception. After being bullied by his school teammates, he quickly became a loyal fan of the 2K series of games. However, Lin Shuheo, who claimed to be a master, accidentally lost to Li Pu in a game a few days ago. This is difficult for Lin Shuheo to accept. Li Pu, a novice who has just arrived in the United States from Africa, how could he possibly be stronger than himself? Even if one's physical talent is stronger than oneself, why is their gaming talent stronger than oneself? Since then, Lin Shuheo has been playing games with Li Pu whenever he has something to do. However, as Li Pu gradually became familiar with using his big hands to control the small controller, Lin Shuheo won fewer and fewer times. And tonight, due to the excitement of chatting up at night in his surprisingly good form, Li Pu killed Lin Shuheo to death. Poor Lin Shuheo, as a loyal fan of the 2K game, actually developed a dislike for this game tonight. He actually had the idea of no longer wanting to play 2K. Li Pu, who was content to return to bed, had no idea how much pain Lin Shuheo, who was about to become autistic, felt in his heart. At this moment, he was holding his phone and looking at Anjali's number in his address book, unable to conceal his smile. He used to be just an ordinary worker who couldn't be more ordinary. He didn't dare to expect such wealth and beauty. However, nowadays, as long as I can pass Prestige test and smoothly enter the NBA, all the unimaginable fame, money, status, and beauty that used to come to me will come to him, and my dreams will come true. Unconsciously, Li Pu fell asleep for the first time after traveling, his mind filled with longing for a better future. Just as Li Pu and Lin Shuheo were engaged in a fierce battle, Anjali drove her Ferrari into the San Francisco Bay Area, a high-end villa area. Palo Alto is only over 60 kilometers away from San Francisco, and it's only an hour's drive away. Anjali carried the kitten Katie back home, only to see her father Vivek Lana Dev sitting on the sofa in the living room. Compared to Anjali's mixed race, Vivek looks more like an authentic Indian. With a dark complexion and a short and frail figure, he looks like an ordinary old man. Who would have thought he would be a Silicon Valley tycoon or a billionaire? Why come back so late? My classmate recorded a song and invited me over to help, but I stayed a bit late. At this time, Anjali was only 18 years old and had just entered the University of California, Berkeley, which was the time when she had the greatest love for music. The United States is not safe at night. I have to go back next time and bring my bodyguards. Got it, Daddy. You're the best. Anjali placed the kitten on the ground and walked behind the sofa, giving Vivek a hug. What an old girl you are, you're still playing coquettish with me. Don't you like it? Of course. I like it. Vivek seemed to be in a good mood and made a rare joke with Anjali. Seeing that her father was in a good mood, Anjali suddenly had an idea and sat on the sofa next to Vivek, asking, "By the way, Dad, you are the owner of the Warriors. Have you heard of an Asian player named Prince Lee?" Vivek was momentarily taken aback, then nodded and said, "I really know this. Vivek likes basketball. Although he is a Silicon Valley tycoon and has his own company, he bought shares in the Warriors because he likes basketball. He is now a small owner of the Warriors." "Oh. Is he strong? Where did you hear that?" "I haven't heard of it, I just ran into him on the way and felt like he was so tall." "That will disappoint you. He performed poorly in the joint trial and couldn't even enter the NBA." "Ah. How could that be?" Anjali was a bit disappointed when she heard her father say so. The fact is, although he has a high talent, his skills are too poor, and he started playing basketball too late. Unfortunately, he has the Chinese market behind him. Vivek couldn't help but sigh. "If there is no team signing him later, Dad, can you let the Warriors sign him?" Anjali suggested. "This is not something I can decide, I'm just a little boss." "No, Angie, why do you care so much about this kid? You don't like him, do you?" Halfway through, Vivek suddenly reacted and looked at his daughter with suspicion. Anjali blushed and said, "How could it be, Dad? I just think he has great potential. He is also Asian, and both his strength and commercial value should not be buried." Vivek didn't believe Anjali's explanation, but he didn't say anything more. Instead, his thoughts drifted towards the distance. He couldn't fulfill his daughter's request and felt somewhat resentful in his heart. "As a small shareholder, there are too few things I can do. If one day I could have my own team, how good would it be?" End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Team Trial Training. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Team Trial Training. This year, the trial time for the Thunder team was a bit late, and it was only after the trials of other teams ended that the Thunder team slowly began. Within the team management team, there are opinions. After all, starting so late, many good talents have already been identified by other teams. What good products are left in one's own hands? However, these were all suppressed by Presti. On June 14, while the NBA Finals were in full swing, the Oklahoma Thunder finally held a trial at their training facility. There are about 20 people coming for the trial, most of whom are expected to be rookies in the last two rounds of the first round, and only Cole Aldrich and Patrick Patterson are expected to be rookies in the lottery. No wonder, although the Thunder team has 3 first-round picks this year, the highest ranking is only the 18th pick. Most lottery rookies do not believe they will fall out of the lottery zone. And the reason why Aldrich and Patterson came was only because the draft market was not optimistic, coupled with the lack of internal defense by the Thunder team, so they came to be a bottom line. Bang! Run up to reach a height of 388 meters. Wow! Li Pu landed, causing a burst of exclamation from around. Although everyone already knows that this guy is a beast, he broke Howard's record for reaching heights from the beginning, which is still shocking. Many people present participated in the Chicago Joint Training Camp and had long known about the legend of Lip. He had exceptional talent, but his actual combat skills were poor. Therefore, everyone rubbed their hands and prepared to take Li Pu's knife in a later confrontation match. Don't worry, I've exploded him once in Chicago, and this time I can still explode. In the crowd, a short but strong player with a fierce expression said to the crowd, attracting admiration and agreement from the surrounding area. Do you hear me? He's going to blow you up. Hey, hello. Upon hearing that everyone had a vague intention towards Li Pu, Lin Shuheo wanted to remind Li Pu beside him, but found that Li Pu had not paid attention to him. Hee. After completing the physical examination, Li Pu ran to the side and foolishly laughed while holding his phone. Lin Shuheo certainly knows what the situation is. Since Angiali gave Li Pu his phone number, apart from training, Li Pu has been chatting foolishly with his phone, exuding a sour smell of love. How can there be so much to talk about? To be honest, for Li Pu, typing and chatting on his mobile phone is very difficult. English chatting uses a full keyboard, and the phone keyboard is already small. His fingers are also very big, and he accidentally typed the wrong letter, but Li Pu will never tire of it. You are already in the trial training, why are you still sending messages? It's okay, the physical fitness test has ended now, and there will only be a match in the afternoon. Then you should rest well and behave well later. No problem, after today, I will make everyone recognize that I will be the strength of the first round of the show. Are you overconfident? Do you really think I don't understand football? Don't underestimate people. Hello. Can you stop daydreaming? Lin Shuheo reluctantly stepped forward and shook Li Pu. Are you talking to me? Li Pu regained his senses and looked innocently at Lin Shuheo. I'm also convinced. Someone over there is talking about you. Lin Shuheo pointed to a group of people not far away. Just say it, I won't lose a piece of meat. After speaking, Li Pu was ready to continue sending text messages. Can you please keep up your spirits? If you fail this trial, you will be ruined. Lin Shuheo reminded. Don't worry, this time I'm fully prepared and I won't follow the same path as last time. Looking at Li Puxin's solemn appearance, Lin Shuheo sighed and said, I hope so. By the way, you just said who wants to target me. After sending a text message and bidding farewell to Angiali, Li Pu put away his phone. Oh, that guy. Lin Shuheo pointed to a short player in the crowd. Oh, it's okay then. It's you who's in opposition to him. Don't come, they're talking about you. Speaking of which, Li Pu suddenly hugged Lin Shuheo's shoulder and whispered, to be honest, that guy is very strong, almost the strongest point guard among these players. If you want to be selected by the Thunder team, there is definitely hope of defeating him. Come on, do you think I don't understand football like you do? I know him, Eric Bradsoe from the University of Kentucky. How could he be as strong as you said? If he were like you said, I would have to compete for one of the 3 first-round picks from the Thunder. Lin Shuheo said to himself. Are you overconfident? Have you ever played NCAA? That guy can't be as powerful as you said. You better take care of your opponent Aldrich. The physical examination ended in the morning, and the afternoon match arrived as scheduled. Unlike the last joint training camp, this time the coach may have received instructions from Presti to let Li Pu start. Don't be too happy too early. If you don't perform well, I will replace you at any time. Li Pu's coach is Mark Bryant, the assistant coach of the Thunder team. In addition to scouting work, he is also responsible for training the Thunder's frontcourt players. With 15 years of experience as an NBA player, he has played for 3 teams: the Portland Trail Blazers, the Houston Rockets, and the Phoenix Suns. Although there are not many highlights in his career, he naturally has a unique skill to play for so long in the NBA. As an insider who has experienced the era of the Big Four forwards, Mark Bryant is obviously also a representative of black and hard, naturally unable to see the chopstick-shaped lip. Therefore, Mark Bryant was very impolite towards Lip. "Don't worry, coach, I won't give you a chance," Lipu said confidently. "I hope it's like you said. Didi." With a whistle, Lipu and others stood on the court. In addition to Lip, the other 4 starting players on Lip's team are Graves Vasquez, Quincy Poundset, Lazar Hayward, and Craig Brookings. The opponents are Eric Bradiso, Avery Bradley, Luke Babbitt, Patrick Patterson, and Cole Aldrich. Although Lin Shuheo is on the same team as Lipu, unfortunately, he is not qualified to start yet. Standing in the middle circle, Lipu looked at his opponent, NCAA superstar Cole Aldrich, with a hint of caution in his eyes. The Aldrich in front of me, although not the one from the Trail Blazers, is a famous Tianjin star. He is 211 centimeters tall and weighs 111 kilograms, setting a new personal block in the history of the University of Kansas team in a single season. He was elected as the NCAA All-American Player of the Year and was selected for the first team and best defensive team of the Major 12 League. Compared to Lipu, Baiade's technology is quite comprehensive. As a technical insider, Baiade not only has a very soft touch, excellent basketball intelligence, and stable mid-range shooting. His range can even extend to the 3-point line, but his 226 cm arm span also gives him strong abilities in 1-on-point-1 defense, rebounding, and blocking. Regarded as the new hope for white American insiders, he is the most powerful center in this training camp and can be said to be Lip's biggest competitor. The game begins with a mid-circle jump ball. Lipu and Baiade jumped at the same time. However, regardless of height, arm span, or bouncing, Lipu completely crushed Baiade and naturally easily gained the ball rights. Lipu passed the ball to his own point guard Graves Vasquez. This person is a 4th-year point guard at the University of Maryland, who won this year's Bob Cousy Award, was named ACC Player of the Year, and was selected for the first team of the All-American team by Sports News, which can be said to be an honor. Of course, his strength is also very good, with good outside shooting ability, and he is 198 centimeters tall, making him the top passing floor point guard. However, like most white people, his athletic ability was not good enough. Faced with the short-bodied player Bradiso who chose to counterattack on the spot, Vasquez surprisingly conceded a goal in the confrontation between the two. Just a few seconds into the game, the ball rights of the two teams had already completed a swap. With a physically explosive blood step, after a successful steal, he quickly dribbled into the opponent's penalty area, leading the way into the basket. Faced with an undefended air blue, he immediately flew up and prepared to dunk. The arm span of 1.98 meters and the explosive power of vertical takeoff of 1.01 meters make Blood Cloth look like a bent bow in the air, ready to smash the ball into the basket. However, at this moment, a big hand appeared behind Blood Boo, directly enveloping the basketball. It goes without saying that the person who came naturally was Lipu, who actively defended himself. In almost an instant, Bradso was knocked down by Lip while carrying the ball. Bradso fell heavily to the ground, and the basketball had already landed in Lip's arms. Tang Tang's Blood Cloth was hit by Lipu's blood cap, which really deserves his nickname. End of this chapter.